So, sir, today what we are going to discuss majorly on, there is a one of the commonest arrhythmic disorder is an atrial fibrillation, and some part of the thromboembolic disorders also as well. And what is the role of a newer generation of oral anticoagulants, in particular these two kind of the diseases. So, sir, as you know that atrial fibrillation is one of the commonest arrhythmic disorder, but still the global prevalence rate, if we see, it's around 1.8 to 2%. And India, I don't think so as of now we have any established registry that we can establish a particular kind of the incidence rate of atrial fibrillation. So, in your practice as a cardiologist, what you have found that the patient's incidence rate and the diagnosis of this particular disease, is it very regularly and frequently is coming on time or not? And if it's not happening, then what could be the possible reason?
Incidence of atrial fibrillation, non-valvular atrial fibrillation in India may be lesser than foreign countries because Western population live longer and they don't have rheumatic heart disease. So, we have more of rheumatic atrial fibrillation. Non-valvular atrial fibrillation is a bit rare in India. Even in my busy practice, I don't see my case incidence is a bit low. It's because elderly population, even with coronary disease, atrial fibrillation rate is atrial fibrillation incidence is low. That is my personal feeling.
Okay. So, it is low, and also the detection of AF is also not happening on the particular time, like the paroxysmal AF and
AF detection is definitely we are diagnosing them early and we are treating them, but non-valvular AF per se, it is incidence is low in India.
Lower in India. Okay. So, if we talk about the risk complication of the particular atrial fibrillation, for one of the commonest thromboembolic disorder is a stroke. It's associated with a non-valvular atrial fibrillation as well. And for regarding a stroke, as of now the current treatment is available is a vitamin K antagonist, warfarin. They are available since almost last 50 to 60 years in India. So, what is your experience on this particular group of drugs in your practice? How you have used in various kind of the indications apart from the SPAF and other thromboembolic disorders, and what kind of challenges you have found in this particular treatment as well?
See, elderly, we put atrial fibrillation patients who are elderly atrial fibrillation patients based on chart score. We put them on oral anticoagulants, especially elderly women who got diabetes. We tend to put them on anticoagulants as well. In addition to aspirin or without aspirin, we tend to put them on oral anticoagulants. But the issue is there will not be any regular follow up for what is that, measuring the anticoagulant value like PTNR. Will be difficult for them to come for a regular periodic checkup. Most of the time we end up in giving a suboptimal doses, like we give 1 milligram, 2 milligram warfarin for acid or azithromycin, which may not be very effective in case of real case of an atrial fibrillation, non-valvular atrial fibrillation in preventing stroke.
Okay. So, definitely what you have said rightly, that the practical challenge is that regular follow up of the patient, and especially the INR monitoring and PT monitoring is not possible even in the internal part of the India as well, and that may be the biggest challenge for this particular group of the drugs. So, to answer them, the newer generation of oral anticoagulants are available like rivaroxaban, apixaban and dabigatran. So, sir, what is your experience on this particular group of the disease? In various conditions you must have used SPAF, deep venous thrombosis, thromboembolic disorders. So, what is your experience with this group of molecules?
In fact, I should agree that accept that I have not used much of these drugs. But one recent information for me is that rivaroxaban is indicated in case of pulmonary embolism. And for follow-up, we tend to give for higher dose for 20 days, and 4 months we give a lower dose. That is very attractive to me. So, probably I tend to use in cases. We have a lot of cases, we have at least 1 or 2 cases. In my practice, I have 1 or 2 cases of pulmonary embolism, acute pulmonary embolism in my practice. So, I thought it will be worthwhile giving these drugs which does not require anticoagulant monitoring, as well as maybe more effective than the routine anticoagulants. In this group of patients, I am planning to use them.
Okay. And sir, what about the stroke prevention atrial fibrillation? All 3 drugs are also indicated in this group of the disease.
let me be frank that I have not seen a stroke in a non-valvular atrial fibrillation in past 5-6 years. Okay. But because there are guidelines, there is a reported incidence of stroke, we tend to put the patient on oral anticoagulants to avoid legal issues. So that's why we put them on oral anticoagulants, no other reason. But thing is, most of the time are not suboptimal therapy. So such patients, if they can afford, if they are affordable, I don't mind putting them on these newer anticoagulants. Because the incidence is very low.
Okay, so definitely that's fine. And, now the thing is that you have talked about the atrial fibrillation. Its detection is also very difficult. The screening part is also very less. So, if you want a specific important takeaway from your side regarding for the patients, even for the physicians and who are the DM cardiologists regarding the atrial fibrillation, its management, then what is your choice, sir? Suppose if you want to give some 5 important instructions to the patients, then what instruction you will give for the atrial fibrillation and the stroke prevention atrial fibrillation for the patients?
It's a very difficult question to answer because if chart score says that the patient is high risk of stroke with atrial fibrillation, like patient has got coexisting disease like diabetes, is obese and is an elderly person, woman, then we should give them on, put them on oral anticoagulants. One of the choice would be a drug, newer anticoagulant, which doesn't require an anticoagulant monitoring. Having said that, we have whether they will comply with the higher cost of this drug is one issue, an area which requires experience over time. But definitely an affordable patient who requires with a high chart scores and score, I would love to try this drug.
Okay. And sir, regarding this CHA2DS score, definitely you can assess the patient, those who are high risk for the stroke. Now, would you like to advise at physician level that when the patients are coming with such kind of high risk conditions like the age, myocardial infarction, congestive heart failure, then you should go for some kind of screening procedures like the ECG and pulse palpation method, so that they can have some idea regarding this particular arrhythmic disorder and the treatment can be started as soon as possible?
No, as such, most of the patients who attend to me or attend the physician, they finally, definitely India is grown up country, it's a developed country actually. For me, in my word, because I feel we in a small town like us, our town, we have crossed 1,000 angioplasties in last 3 years. So India is a developed country as far as cardiology practice is concerned. So most of them have an ECG. Even in a small town, taluk, sub-taluk level, they have an ECG, and physicians are very well qualified to interpret an ECG, and they will, any MBBS student, MD physician will detect, diagnose an atrial fibrillation, put them on drugs. Probably they might put them on aspirin. And may not put them on oral anticoagulants because of fear of not the anticoagulant monitoring is not possible in most other places. Even the laboratory values which are reported are not really reliable. So in that condition, if patient can afford this kind of newer anticoagulants, will have a role.
Sure. So I think, sir, it's a very fair now discussion what we have, and as the sir has suggested very frankly that AF is definitely it's a commonest arrhythmic disorder, and India is one of the growing countries. So in this kind of countries also, that physician level they are getting diagnosed very maximally with the proper ECG and proper pulse palpation method as well. And also tell means given information is very frankly that regarding the VKs, they are good available treatment, but still due to the practical challenges like INR monitoring and proper follow up, in NOACs can be a better option, and in affordable class definitely it should be a first of the choice. So sir, thanks a lot for being here and giving your valuable opinions and your time for this particular discussion. Thanks a lot.